This video is kind of a part 3 and also kind of a part 2 to these two videos, so if you haven't seen them before, I recommend you at least watch the more recent one. But if you're not in the mood to sit through like 40 minutes of me blabbering about this fan game, here's a quick TLDR. Taiken Sons is a FNAF fan game by Mixlaz that mixes Chipper and Sons and FNAF into one game. The custom mode of this game is home to one of the hardest FNAF challenges of all time, being the 1422 mode. This challenge had not been beaten for years, so I decided to make this video in order to explain what we knew about the challenge and to try to get the word out there. With the help of the only active runner of the challenge, Costa Vesta, I was able to compile the best strategies regarding the challenge into one definitive video. And that's pretty much all you need to know about the lore of this video series. What happened after I released the last video is something I could have never predicted. A series of twists and turns that eventually led to the hardest FNAF challenge finally being beaten. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In order to get there, we need to go all the way back to the first 24 hours after my video is posted. As part of this video, Costa had set up a Google Doc that gave everybody his contact information, in case someone had any groundbreaking discoveries to share with him. Shortly after the video went live, Costa sent me a DM that made my video pretty much outdated already. Someone by the name of Warmer Snow 84 had been running 1422 in secret for a long time already, but never bothered to record or upload his times. You're probably thinking then, okay, if he never uploaded any of his runs, how can we even believe him? My video was already getting extremely popular at that point. It's not crazy to think some clout chasers would come out of the woodworks to try to spin the narrative in their favor. Well, Warmer Snow was pretty quickly able to prove his legitimacy by sharing with us the first new strategy of the run since my video dropped, that being the window stalling strategy. Essentially, at the beginning of the run, you have to go to one of the windows and wait for about 56 seconds. At some point, the two Rockstar animatronics going up and down will start to sync up pretty well in the minimap. This is your cue to start dealing with all the animatronics. What this does is set up the rest of the animatronics in a good spot where you can go ahead and deal with them in a pretty efficient way. A version of this strategy was used on the winning run as well, so clearly Warmer Snow knew what he was talking about. With this strategy in mind, Costa was able to get a brand new time of 3:02, which was the first 3-minute run of the challenge uploaded to YouTube. So not even 24 hours after my video dropped, we already had a brand new strategy and a brand new world record. It was safe to say things were moving pretty fast, which I kind of expected, but it was genuinely surreal to see. Anyway, also within those first couple days, some smaller but also interesting things happened. Astral Spiff hinted both in my comments and in my Twitter DMs that he would start running the challenge, which he actually did a few days later. However, I'm an idiot and I didn't figure out he was running it until long after he started, since I never used Twitch. Whoops. Notorious FNAF challenge runner, Shooter25, also stated around this time that he had no intentions to do 1422 runs. At the time, he may have thought the challenge was genuinely impossible, or if it was possible, that it was incredibly RNG based to the point where a human doing it would be absurd. That's how hard this damn thing is. If Shooter25 thinks it's that difficult, you know something's up. Fellow YouTuber Ambience also hit me up on Discord around this time, stating that him and a couple friends were planning on running the challenge since they already had experience with max modes and wanted to see if they could make any major progress. He DM'd me for a bit before it was decided a group DM would be the best call. And so the Taiken Sons 1422 group DM was created. Almost immediately, more progress was being made. Tazzy, a member of the group chat, was able to get a new time of 3:04. Sadly, this one wasn't recorded, but it did happen as it was being screen shared to the group chat. Shortly after that, Costa Vesta got another world record with a time of 3:09. It was clear the current strategies were working. It was just a race to see who could push them to their full potential. Some more members were being recruited for the DM around this time, including adding Warmer Snow and adding a newcomer by the name of Zach Scream, who had gotten a really good time of 2:56 pretty early into trying the challenge. Considering the best time at this point was 3:09, this was a pretty good showcase of skill early on, so bringing them on board was a no-brainer. Things were a little quiet for a bit, until Costa Vesta came swinging back with a time of 3:20. This isn't just notable as a new world record, but it was the first ever 1422 run to reach 5 sleep assurance on the sleep assurance bar. This was a huge deal, as up until that point, most runs were stuck around the 3 to 4 sleep assurance range. Around this time is when the code of the game was being snooped around in. This was pretty much just to figure out which mechanics were RNG based or not, and surprise surprise, most of the mechanics are RNG based. Spoiler alert, 1422 is pretty much RNG hell, where you need to pray to God certain things fall into place, if you even want to have a shot at beating it. The community had hit a bit of a roadblock here. since no one else had beaten Costa's time of 3:20, and even he began to try easier Taiken Sun's challenges to give himself a break. However, soon some huge information would come out that would greatly help with our understanding of this challenge. That's all thanks to the creator of the game himself, Mixlaz. Costa had gotten in contact with Mixlaz to talk to him about some of the more mysterious aspects of how the game works, which led us to finding out how difficulty actually works in Taiken Suns. Essentially, as the night goes on, a timer increases throughout the night that raises the aggressiveness of the animatronics. Every 15 seconds, that aggressiveness meter increases by 0.5 points, and it caps out at 5 points. So essentially, the reason nothing happens at the start of the night in Taiken Suns is because every animatronic starts on 0 difficulty for the first 15 seconds or so, which makes them completely inactive until that meter increases. While this might sound bad for 1422, there's actually another factor that is a major upside. As the night goes on, and the points go up, it becomes easier to earn sleep assurance points. So sure, at one point you'll be dealing with the hardest possible versions of the animatronics, but when you get there, it becomes much easier to actually gain the points you need to complete the night. This means the second half of the sleep assurance bar takes significantly less time to fill up than the first half. Existing runs had already reached the 5-point limit for the animatronic difficulty, so all it would take is for someone to deal with the level 5 animatronics for a little while longer and the challenge could be completed. This entire night system boils down to a set of points that you earn from protecting yourself from threats, which are then multiplied by the level of aggression the animatronics are currently on. You need 6,160 points in total to complete the challenge, and if you are wondering specifically why the second half of the sleep assurance bar is easier to fill up than the first half, it's connected to this point system. Early on in the night, when you defend yourself, you're pretty much just getting the base level of points each animatronic gives you when you fend them off, which is going to be on screen right now. However, this number is then multiplied higher as the difficulty increases, which means even though every animatronic is now much harder, you're making more progress each time you fend one off. Mixlaz also explains some other stuff, involving stalling characters and kill timers, but all you need to know is that all the information Mixlaz gave to us ended up being very helpful when it came to understanding the ins and outs of this challenge. Very shortly after we got this information from Mixlaz, another major breakthrough happened. The runner Shosella got the first ever Phase 2 run. If you remember from my last video, a Phase 2 run is when Nightmare Chipper leaves the door and moves to your bedroom. No one had ever gotten a Phase 2 run in the history of 1422, so this was a huge deal. The most interesting part of this run, however, is even though this was the first Phase 2 run, it wasn't a new world record time. Costa's 3:20 was still the best time, with Shosella's run coming in at 3:17. So what's the deal here? From what I understand, once you hit 5 sleep assurance, a timer is started that has an RNG roll, and once it reaches that random amount of time it wants to, it will trigger Phase 2. So even though Costa's run of 3:20 is longer, he just didn't get as lucky with the Phase 2 trigger RNG, leading to him not entering the phase, while Shosella's 3:17 did. Costa's 3:20 had been the best run for a while at this point, and it didn't get dethroned anytime soon either. It took a while before someone would get a better run, and that would come in the form of a 3:21, Phase 2 run from Shosella. Impressive, yes, but he ended up dying to a map animatronic, so it ended up being a pretty sad ending to a fantastic run. Regardless, a new best time was in place, and this time it actually got to Phase 2. In my previous video, I talked a bit about how many flashes it takes to get rid of certain characters at the window or the door. However, after a bit more chatting with Mixlaz, Costa was able to get some solid numbers for us to go off of. Springcrab needs 9 flashes, Nightmare Chipper needs 7 flashes, and Fun Fungal needs 6 flashes. These specific numbers would help a lot when it came to optimizing mouse clicks for a run. Especially when every second of a run is so important for 1422, it was good to finally know exact numbers in the flashlight department. This would also help preserve the flashlight battery a lot longer, since you could micromanage how much battery you were using in a much more precise way. Anyway, guess who got another world record that ended up dying to a map character again? Shosella was back at it again with a very impressive time of 3:31. It was becoming pretty clear now he was the potential front runner for beating the whole challenge at this point, and while his luck with map characters hadn't been the best, he was still making great progress consistently, in a period where a lot of the other runners were struggling. That streak didn't last much longer though, as Ambient ended up getting a time of 3:54 with 6 sleep assurance, and he didn't record the run. I believe him that this actually happened. He had never gotten any records on Taiken Suns before, and wasn't expecting to get a major run, so he didn't bother recording. It's a shame though that the first ever 6 sleep assurance run was never recorded. We were getting dangerously close to finishing the challenge at this point. Remember, you only need 8 sleep assurance to end the night, and we were now 2 points away from doing that. The challenge wasn't getting any harder at this point, it was really just a race to see who could stick it out the longest. For a while there though, no progress was being made at all. Juniors had come out around this time, so a couple of the main runners ended up getting distracted with that for a bit. Things were slowing down a lot, and while I thought the challenge was surely going to be beaten at some point, I was beginning to think it would take a couple months before anyone actually got on that level. Well, I can confidently say now that I was wrong to think that. Behind the scenes for a couple days, Shooter25 had started running 1422, after he originally planned on never doing it. After seeing all his friends make progress trying to kill the beaver for good, he decided to step in the ring and give it a go. Only 2 days after he started running 1422, he uploaded the first ever recorded 6 sleep assurance run to YouTube. 2 days. This was progress on a whole other level. And if anyone was going to finally beat this thing, it was going to be him. Only a few days later, Shooter had gotten the first ever 7 sleep assurance run, clocking in at 419. You're probably wondering, what the hell his strategy is, since he was making so much progress so fast. So instead of me trying to explain it, I'll just let the man speak for himself. The only thing I probably do differently are the Chip-O-Mats. I try to do these cycles, but let's go over the basic info first. You guys already know about this, but just in case, 1.0 and 3.0 both have a sound cue, but 2.0 doesn't. 1.0 and 3.0 can't go to the same window. They will always go to the one that isn't occupied by the other. 2.0 can go to any window, no matter where 1.0 and 3.0 are. In terms of speed, 2.0 is faster than 3.0, and 3.0 is faster than 1.0. Now what I call cycles. Good cycle. 1.0 first, then 3.0. This means that since 1.0 is slower, they will get to the window at about the same time, leaving you in a good situation. Bad cycle. 3.0, then 1.0. 3.0 will get to the window a lot sooner, and it may leave you in a bad situation with 1.0. At the beginning of the night, I force a good cycle by AFKing on the left window until 47 seconds. Then I go to the center, then I go back to the left window, and flash to know where both 1.0 and 3.0 are going to be. Then, no matter what you see, go back to the center again, then proceed to the window where 1.0 is to force a good cycle. The rest is just 3.0 front C-bill. You can also force a good cycle in the middle of a run, but it should only be done if you are capable of wasting extra time. So if you happen to get 3.0's window first instead of 1.0, you are probably going to need to stall him a bit first. To stall, you just close the curtains, but not for long enough to send them away. This will reduce their timer, I assume, so he doesn't kill you when you go to get 1.0 first. So it end up being a 3.0, stall him, go get 1.0, go back to 3.0, and there you go. Good cycle. Almost instantly after this was posted, even more progress was being made. Shosella got a 421 run, and even though he messed up the strategy a bit, it was clear that whatever magic strategy Shooter25 had was the winning formula. Shooter soon got a 425 that was almost the winning run, but he messed up and ended up getting killed by Toy. We were literally in the endgame at this point. It was just a waiting game to see when Shooter would get a good run and finally end this once and for all. On August 28th, 2022, after around a month of on and off teamwork, blood, sweat, and tears, this finally happened.
I did it!
Wait, you did?
What? No way.
I did 1422.
Wait, did you?
I figured. I did it.
Did
I figured everyone.
We ruined that clip by talking about what
I did it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I did it.
Oh
my. Let's go.
Hold on, wait. No.
Oh my god.
Shooter25 did it. After years of this challenge not being beaten, it was finally done. Emotions were high, everyone was relieved that not only was it finally over, but it was proven once and for all that yes, it is possible to beat Taiken Sun's 1422 mode. I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who helped out along the way making this a reality. Ambience, who brought the group chat all together. Astralspiff, who ran the challenge on Twitch, and even ended up beating 1222 mode. Insta, for his incredible work getting us information. Shosella for getting multiple world record runs that pushed the challenge even further, Tazzy and Zach Scream for their incredible work helping us beat this challenge, Warmer Snow for being one of the oldest runners and also someone who gave us one of the most important strategies, Costa Vesta for being the first person to consistently run 1422 mode and also kind of the person who started this all, Mixluds for creating the game and helping us with some of the more hidden details, and finally Shooter25 for beating the challenge and coming up with the final strategy needed to kill the beaver once and for all. When I made my first Tyke & Sons video all those months back, I never thought it would blow up in the way it did. And I never could have imagined it would lead to the completion of one of FNAF's hardest challenges months later. Tyke & Sons genuinely changed my life in multiple ways, which sounds really weird to say, but it's the truth. Before summer started this year, I said I wanted to do a summer charity event at some point. While I never got around to it, I still want to do an event regardless. So I am proud to announce that on September 24th, I will be hosting a live event right here on the channel called Tyke & Sons Charity Co. This will be a stream where I go through all of Tyke & Sons from start to finish live while raising money for a good cause. I'm not 100% right now what charity we're going to raise money for or the exact time of the event, so make sure to pay attention to my Twitter and the community tab for updates. It should be a fun time, and I'm excited to finally stream Tyke & Sons for you all. As of now, a couple more things have happened since Shooter beat 1422. Shosella has made a lot of personal progress and is getting dangerously close to beating it himself. And just recently, Frogger25 became the second person to beat the challenge. I'm sure many more people will beat 1422 as the time goes on, thanks to the amazing groundwork our team has laid out for the community. Thank you all for sticking with me through this crazy Tyke & Sons arc, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I think the only fitting way to end this is to read Costa's final thoughts on this entire situation for you all. After the video posted about this max mode and linking the Google Drive in the description, I got many people DMing me about their progress and asking for advice, which was nice to see, as it certainly had a positive impact on the FNAF community. The support I gained and saw through YouTube comments and Discord messages was truly heartwarming. It was a big factor on why I kept going, trying to beat 1422 mode. Basically what I'm trying to say is, it was nice to see the FNAF community come together and support one another, as this is what the community should strive for. I also wanted to support people personally as well, scrolling through videos on YouTube and watching runs of 1422, giving congratulations for their attempts so that they could keep going with extra motivation, knowing that they got support as well, just like I had. When I got DM'd about a group chat for Tyke & Sons 1422, I immediately accepted, as I knew I couldn't do this on my own. I had already gotten amazing help from Warmer Snow 84 and with the starting strategy with the window, then having Ambience, Tazzy, Insta, Shosella, Astrospiff, and me doing endless amounts of attempts on 1422 mode with getting incredible improvements. Getting into contact with Mixluds, with answering questions that we had regarding 1422 mode, and being super nice to us was a delight. Then lastly, Shooter25 joined in on the run. The man who put 53 hours into beating this max mode truly shows how dedicated he was on beating this, and I am glad after several attempts, after so many different people, that Shooter beat it. I know Shooter beat the mode, but everyone else that worked on it deserves credit for the amazing work they did with this mode, as this was a team effort that everyone contributed to make happen. This wasn't a one-man job. I am glad the community came together and achieved something incredible while supporting each other. Thank you for 250,000 subscribers, everybody, and have a good one.